Today I'm talking with Russ Harmon, who is the national leader for Lifesaving Chaplaincy Australia. He's also the chaplain for Nobby's Beach Surf Lifesaving Club and the chaplain for the Titans Rugby League Football Club. Hello, Russ.
Hi, Chris.
Just wanted to ask a few questions as a chaplain, and my first question would be, what do you see your role as a chaplain to be?
Glad you asked. A chaplain is an interesting role. I guess if I was to describe what chaplaincy is, it's doing life with people, a given community, whether it be a rugby league club, like I am with the Titans, or the Nobby's Beach Surf Club, and just being visible, accessible, and consistent is the main qualities for a chaplain.
Okay. We want to kind of elaborate what you mean by doing life. It's one of those phrases that gets thrown around a little bit.
Chaplaincy obviously is being available for people when they're going through things, in the good times and the not so good times. I use that term doing life because it's the good, the bad and the ugly, I guess, of every day's life. Chaplains are not only involved with the per se, whether they're rugby league players in the sporting field or whether they're lifesavers. It's not just then, it's when they're off the beach or off the rugby league field. It's doing life on and off the beach or the field. It's walking through them when they go through the trials and traumas of life. It's being there as a friend. It's not so much counselling, but it is pastoral care. Okay. And that involves caring. Yeah. The needs or requirements of the chaplain is, number one, you have to care for people, you have to like people and love interacting with them and being available as a servant. And we are there to serve any given community that we're involved in.
Mm-hmm. So obviously you've mentioned a whole bunch of roles and responsibilities, and with it, and you've already started touching on, is certain qualities and skills that are needed. Do you care to elaborate a little bit more about what specific qualities and skills are needed for this role?
I think pastoral care skills are mostly the skills required. You have to be a good listener. It's no good just talking. Often you give information that people don't need. You need to find out where they're at, and so listening is a very important skill.
What was that?
Yes, I know what you mean. Some people are good at talking. Other skills that you need to have, obviously, we have training involved, and we require all our lifesaving chaplains to do a 3-day intensive on sports chaplaincy. They're 3 8-hour days and involve quite a detailed coverage of different areas like trauma, peer support, those sorts of things, debriefing, grief and counselling, and that sort of stuff, grief and loss, I should say. Yeah.
So from what I'm picking up, you mentioned some very generic skills that will probably apply to chaplaincy in any area, but more specifically, there are some specific skills for life-saving or even sports chaplaincy. So if someone were to come to you and say, hey Ross, I'm really interested in doing chaplaincy in sport or in surf life-saving, what would they need to do? Where would they start?
Good question. I've just come from an interview with a guy who wants to be a chaplain in a surf life-saving club on the Gold Coast. The number one thing I said he needs to do before anything else is join that club and become a member of that club, an active patrolling member, so that they are a part of the community. In other words, they need to embrace that community that they're going to serve unconditionally. And I require chaplains, if they're going to be in surf lifesaving, to actually become a part of that community before I even approach the club, to volunteer them as a chaplain, so that they already build relationships. And it's very needful to be a part of knowing people, getting visible, and really getting it in your heart that you're there to serve that club.
So it's something that doesn't happen overnight. It's really something you've got to work towards in the long term, in building that rapport, that relationship with the community.
Yes, you do. Chaplaincy, sometimes you feel like you're not getting anywhere. but it's over a long period of time. It's consistency. In other words, you lay down your life, in a sense, for that given community, and that's a life journey. That's not a one-time event. And as a chaplain, it's a great privilege. You're there as a guest. You're there to honour the given rules of that club, where it doesn't cross your belief system or with your morals or integrity. But you are there to uplift and uphold the values, and may I say, the Surf Lifesaving movement have very high values, and their very nature is to serve as volunteers in our given community, and we're there to be servants to the servants, so to speak.
Gotcha. All right. Well, thank you so much, Ross. It's been very informative to look at what you do as a chaplain in your role and what skills are required, and also some of the hinters and pointers of where someone would want to start if they were interested in life-saving or sport chaplaincy. You've mentioned a lot about life-saving. What about sport chaplaincy? Is that a bit different in terms of how to start off in that area?
It is, in the sense that there needs to be an approach to the club first to see if they'd like a chaplain, because you can't just turn up, especially in the NRL, in that elite sort of sporting culture. You can't just turn up. They very much screen who comes to training sessions, and they keep players away from media per se, and those that are not involved in the actual club. So you need to be invited first. So you need to approach. There is an organisation called Sports Chaplaincy Australia that are approached. They're the ones that do the approaching to the clubs.
Okay.
And in my position with the Titans, I was actually invited by one of the board members to come on as the chaplain. And so then I had interviews with the club, and they vetted my, I guess, who I am and what I do and my qualifications. And then I was appointed. But,
So not to sound cliche, but it's true to say that it's not what you know, but who you know, and that comes to relationship again, isn't it?
Yes, it does, and connections, and who can introduce you into the place.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's very important. And then in the actual environments, the surf lifesaving culture and the rugby league culture are different. There are certain skill sets that you need to know for dealing with situations that are surf lifesaving focused, and then obviously with rugby league it's a little different, and the way you approach rugby league players is a little different. So those sort of skill sets you need a little bit of extra training in.
Okay. Well, we'll probably cover that in the coming segments, but thank you so much, Russ, for just sharing your heart in this wonderful world called chaplaincy.
Thank you.